Hey guys, what's going on? So today we're going to discuss a farm that's going to be very viable in Phase 5. It is located here at the Isle of Dread, which is in Feralus. This area is not really commonly used right now in the game. There's a lot of bots towards the north of the island where there's an area that you can farm for golden pearls, but what we're after right now is the Chimera Tenderloin, and this is used in a recipe that is available in Phase 5. Now, I did go out and test. After looking online, I couldn't really get a definitive answer whether the meat was in the game now or if it was added in Phase 5. And after doing some testing with a warrior that came out and helped me, we determined that the meat is not currently in the game. We killed about 30 to 40 of the chimeras here, and none of them dropped any of the meat. The meat drop rate is supposed to be around 8 to 9%. So we would have definitely gotten one in the time that we were here. So the meat currently is not in the game, which is why this zone is pretty much dead. There's no real need to be here at the moment. However, in Phase 5, when this meat becomes available, it is going to become very, very useful. If it's anything like it was on private servers, this meat goes for anywhere between 10 to 15 gold per chimera chop. So that is a lot of gold for one item, obviously. It is a really good food item for your tanks and warriors and things like that. Your DPS will probably be using your strength food, but this is a really good one for warriors and getting extra health. One thing I will add is this area is not going to be able to be done solo. You really need at least 2 people, as these chimeras are fairly hard to kill. There's 2 different types. There's a melee one and a caster chimera. The caster is fairly annoying if you yourself are a caster, as they constantly put up a magic reflection shield that you have to be aware of. Otherwise, you'll obviously reflect the magic that you deal right back to yourself. Also, one thing you need to be careful of, which you just saw there, is they have a silence. So what I would do if you're a healer and you're killing these with another person, stay at max range because the silence can really cause a lot of problems. They don't seem to do the silence quite as often as their other abilities, but it is there, so you need to watch out for that. One thing I will say that is different about these versus private servers is they cannot be slowed in any way, so you cannot really effectively kite them, which means that, killing these chimeras by yourself is pretty tricky. So this is another reason why I believe this food will be very valuable come Phase 5, because you obviously need to farm it with at least 2 people, and there's probably going to be quite a lot of competition here early on, whether it's same faction competition where you're competing for mobs, or where it's cross faction competition and you're actually having to deal with PvP fights as well. So this area is going to be pretty busy come Phase 5 probably, and this is something that you and possibly your guild should consider at least farming a few of these chops or purchasing them off the auction house for your Phase 5 content that you're doing in raids. This is why I think that these will go up in value, obviously quite a lot at the beginning, and they could be a very valuable thing that you could take advantage of and farm with a few friends. Now, obviously, the price is going to differ very much depending on what server you're on. If your server is fairly unpopulated, then farming these might be quite easy. But if you're on a large populated server like I am, there's probably going to be a lot of competition. Now, we'll have to see how layering is affected by this. At the moment, Faralina, the server that I'm on, still has layers in the game to avoid queue times, and I guarantee you come AQ, we will probably see something similar. I know that the opening of the AQ gates is going to be interesting, with the fact that they had said early on that there wasn't going to be layers, but right now we're still seeing layers as is kind of their only fix for the huge population that we see on some servers. So That will affect this farm. Obviously, if there's a lot of layers open for farming, the prices of these Chimera chops will be less than if there's only one layer and everyone's fighting for the spawn of these mobs. Now, with a 9 to 8% drop chance, you can get a relatively good amount of these, and obviously you're having to split them between your group. But if you're just farming them for yourself to be able to use for a raid consumable, then you could come here and farm for just a little bit and get enough for your next week's raid. However, like I said, this is probably going to be a pretty good way to make some gold. And since this is not an instanced gold farm and you're having to kill elites with a group, the great thing about this is it's going to be a little bit bot proof, which is obviously a good thing since we're seeing so many bots in the game right now. I actually wanted to go and show how on this Isle of Dread you can also right now, currently in the game, take advantage of farming golden pearls from the Naga to the north, and I ran it over there on my mage, and actually there was 3 bots in the area just from going over there to try and find some of the Naga to show you guys what you kill to get those. And that's pretty sad, obviously, to see so many bots in one area. This island is pretty like, it doesn't have a huge population of players on it, as it's pretty hard for Horde to get out to the island, and then Alliance I think only has 1 or 2 quests in this direct area to do. So normally you see a lot of bots in these kind of areas, and it's definitely no difference here. There's a lot of bots trying to farm for those golden pearls. So sad to see, but I think this Chimera farm should be pretty open for normal players, as it's going to be a hard thing for bots to do since the mobs are a little bit more tricky and they're elite, so you can't solo it. There's also a named mob in the northern part of the Isle of Dread. It's called Lord Lacamera or something like that, and he is going to be used for the Scarab Lord quest chain, I believe, and we tried to go out here and 2-man him, but he just does a lot of damage. And also you saw there that I got too far away from my warrior and he ended up dying. So this is definitely a mob that you'll probably want to stay away from if you're only killing these chimeras with 1 or 2 people in your group. But I will say that he does have a slightly higher chance of dropping the Chimera chops. It's only a 25% chance instead of 8 or 9% chance, so it's not really worth doing it. It's not like he drops several or anything like that. So in general, just leave him alone. It's not going to be worth your time to kill him, and just stick to the other 2 types in the area. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for you now. I'm just going to let this footage play out. I'll show you the footage of the bots that I found in the cave to the north of the Naga. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.